All right, we're gonna start by just making sure we have good double strokes. Once we have that, we're gonna start moving the double strokes around. But we're not gonna start scraping them yet. We're just gonna move them as whole double strokes. I want you to notice a couple things while you're doing this. First of all, recognize how much arm motion you're using. This is how much arm motion you should be using when you transfer into scrapes. Because if you don't use this much arm to get from one drum to another, then you're clearly making up that distance by breaking your wrist or some other technical manipulation. Also realize how much rebound you're getting off these double strokes while moving them side to side. The motion is simple and you're not scraping them yet, but we want our scrapes to feel as much like this as possible. Once you got those two kind of feelings in mind, now we're going to start scraping them. Please take this slow. There is nothing worse than trying to speed through the fundamentals of how to play scrapes. What you're doing is you're building muscle memory. So the way you build your scrapes right now in terms of how accurate you are and how you're approaching the drum vertically, that is going to affect how you play scrapes moving forward, whether it's faster or with crossovers or just anything in general. And trust me, if you build them well now, it's going to translate to the faster stuff eventually. So that's just an example of something you can do. Something simple, doesn't have to be anything crazy or super thought out. What's more important are the characteristics that go into playing something like that. So all the little notes that are in there, try to think about those things when you're doing it yourself. But regardless of what kind of primer you want to use or what kind of breakdown you want to use, you can always think about these things and apply it to whatever you're playing. I do like doing a check pattern approach because it allows you to feel what you're supposed to be feeling on the arounds. So here's something sort of similar, but there's a check pattern approach to it. So I think that type of approach works better when you're starting to speed things up, because when you start to speed things up, it gets really easy to close your hand or squeeze too much, and you want to check yourself and make sure that you're not doing anything differently on the scrapes. If I had to sum up scrapes, it's basically just playing double strokes on one drum and then, moving your arm side to side a little bit. That's how I think about it. That allows me to still approach scrapes the same way as I do on one drum, while, separating the muscles that are used for moving that approach side to side. So that's pretty much all there is to it. It's not that difficult. It just takes some time to make sure you're building the right habits. Once you're comfortable and content with how you do it at the slow end, just take it up a little bit. Slowly take up the tempo and make sure that you're retaining the same qualities that you're doing. If you have a click track, that's a great way to practice scrapes. Click tracks often kind of trick you to playing the faster stuff just like you play the slower stuff. Couple other things that you might want to consider too. First, make sure that you're not thinking too much about the motions. A lot of times people are so concerned about how much they're moving, they miss the first note. Sometimes they'll hit rim, or they'll just, they'll hit somewhere not in the scrape zones. The most important note of pretty much anything is the first note. So before you even think about scraping over, hit that first note first. When you start playing quads more and more, you don't really have to think about the arounds so much. Those kind of take care of themselves. What you really have to think about is how you're approaching the vertical stuff, all the rhythms, the way you're hitting the head. Make sure you're always taking sound quality into consideration. Please do not just kind of let it slide. As you take up the tempos and as you start playing harder stuff, the quality is going to degrade a little bit. That's inevitable. So if you want all the hard stuff to sound 100% correct, all the easy stuff has to be 110% correct. If you settle for 80% now at the slow and easy stuff, it's just going to go downhill from there. I don't think it's that hard to get good at scrapes. I don't know how much that is coming from me, because I've been playing quads for 8 years, 9 years, something like that. When I started working on scrapes when I was a freshman. I didn't really take anything fast. I didn't use primers or anything like that. I didn't do anything fancy or play like 20 different exercises. I actually only played one exercise over and over again. And it was actually a very difficult exercise. The key thing though was I took it slow. I never attempted to play it fast until I was comfortable at the slow tempo. I would always take it up slowly week by week until I was comfortable enough to play it at a fast tempo. And if you guys want to know what exercise it is, it's Diddles for Decade from Quad Logic, the Bill Bachman book. By the way, that book is a phenomenal book. So again, like if it was just something as simple as what I just played, that's totally fine. It's not about exactly what you're playing. It's more about how you're, rehearsing it, how you're implementing it. But just to show you the effect that practicing it slow has at the faster tempo, here's an example of something simple at a slow tempo and then at a faster tempo. Anyways, that was our intro to Scrapes video. Hope that helped you guys and hope you guys were able to take away a little bit of knowledge from that. Like I said, Scrapes is a very defining characteristic of the quad drum. I would really love to see more groups playing really good quality Scrapes. It is a very unique aspect about this instrument alone. You don't really get to see that on any other drum, marching or concert or other percussion instruments. But please, 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 take it slow, build your fundamentals up, and I promise you it's going to pay off when you are asked to play the really difficult things that you've always wanted to play. Anyways, I look forward to the next few videos on Scrapes, and I will see you next time.